Welcome to class. Welcome to our calligraphy class. We will be going over our basic strokes just for warm up. We will be going over our monthly worksheet, which is the letter M, the word April, month April, apologize. We have our project of the month, which is this super cute bunny. I misscheduled my planning and did Easter after Easter, but we're still in the same month, so we'll work with it. And this is a bonus project. This was actually from last week's class, but I still like to go over both of them for those of you who were not able to do that project with us last week. We will not be going over our basic strokes, which we all know that is for our beginner class. This class is just strictly these little side projects. And I actually have a technique of the month, which would be foligraphy. So that's why I incorporated foligraphy here. I'm gonna go in depth, very deep into details, do a few word transitions, basic words into foligraphy, and different ways we can play around with it. Let's see. We also will be using the Pentel Brush Pen. I'm not going to grab all of them, but this is the pen that I will be using for today's class. Ashley, can you tell me how is the lighting? Is it okay?
I can see, but I can't see the letters on the pen.
Okay. Color wise, I don't want it to be too dark.
No, we can see the colors, just not the writing.
Okay, yeah. I can probably, yeah, the writing's actually not even, it's inscripted. I can write it down later. Of course, we always want to have our pencil available. If you have a ruler, let's see. I'm going to use a monoline brush pen. I'm sorry, monoline, which is a non-flexible tip. This is the Micron, but you can actually use any non-flexible pen you have. And then of course, my original Tombow Pudanusku flexible pen. So I will be having those on standby. And of course, eraser. Okay, so that is our projects. Those are the tools I'm going to be using. And I just also want to remind everybody, please do not hesitate to stop me at any time and ask any questions you may have. It'll definitely help me and everyone else out. So without further ado, let's do our basic strokes. Warm up our muscle memory. For this, I'm going to use a tracing paper. So for those of you who did not get the message or were not able to join us in last week's class, I did update my entire workbook. So this is actually part of the workbook. This page here, it is available on the library calendar, or you can email Ashley for a copy. Again, it's updated and I only go over it in detail in my first fundamental class. So it's going to be my first calligraphy class of each month. Okay. We have our upstroke here. We all know starts from the bottom up using the very tip of your pen with the light upstroke motion. Our upstrokes also are entrance strokes. I'm just gonna kind of fill it up halfway. And move on. Okay, next we have our downstroke. Downstroke, full pressure, top to bottom. You can also use your Crayola, using the side of your Crayola pen, even applying as much force as possible on the side of our Crayola will give you what be considered a large brush pen thickness. Next, we have our overturn. Bottom left, light stroke over. Don't apply a pressure until you are over the top. So light, over, and then downstroke. These double lines are actually tall enough for large brush pens. Next, we have an underturn stroke. Starts on the top left, just opposite of the overturn. Starts with heavy pressure, release before the bottom, up into an upstroke. Just a reminder, doing these warm-ups before every project is good for waking up your muscle memory. Next, we have a compound curve, combining the overturn and the underturn. So starts on the bottom left. Starts with an overturn stroke and then goes into an underturn stroke. Light pressure over, downstroke, release before the bottom, back up. Compound curves are a little tricky to learn. Reverse compound curve. Starts with downstroke, goes into an overturn. Apologize. Starts with an underturn, goes directly into an overturn. Under, over. Oval. Start a little off to the side, overturn at the top, underturn at the bottom, connect where you started. Draw a little line, overturn, underturn, connect. And remember, ovals are ovals for a reason. They're not circles. You don't want to open it up like that. No, we don't want a circle. We want overturn, underturn combination. Okay, reverse oval. Starts on the right side, goes counterclockwise. Same thing, combination of an overturn and an underturn. Ovals are hard for me. You know, and actually doing these strokes right next to another stroke when you're doing your letters, you actually don't end up seeing this back side too much. Let's go practice. Next, we have our ascending loop. Starts in the middle and goes backwards and drops down into a downstroke. Next, we have our descending loop. Starts with a downstroke, also goes backwards and stops in the middle. Okay, next is one of a new addition to our warm-up and that is the comma dot. The best way to get a comma dot is just to drop your pen, pick it right back up, and when you pick it up, come outwards. Looks like a little check mark. What you don't want to do is drag it too much down. That's too much. You just want to drop your pen and check mark up. Just like that. There we go. Comma dot, I just like to add it because we do use it sometimes, and it's good because I know when I first started, it did not look like that. So practicing and learning it is great to add to your warm-up. Okay, jumping right into our worksheet. Let me grab another tracing paper. So we have our letter M here. Our letter M is in copper plate, uppercase. Let's see. Okay. And with this, it has 3 strokes. It has an upstroke, a V-like shape, and an extended underturn. So with this uppercase, with the entrance stroke, upstroke, it's gonna have a little hook at the beginning and goes straight up into an angle. The second stroke is a little S shape and then goes directly straight up into a thin upstroke. And actually, let me repeat that one more time. Okay, so a hook at the bottom, straight up at an angle. The second one is an S, a very slightly S shape. Oh, that's 2, straight up and down. No, I think that's about right. And then this last stroke, what you want to do is just barely touch the tip of your pen and start moving. And once you get to the center, you just drop it. And I hope that makes sense. Let me get a different pen. I'm not liking the way that's writing. And then once you get to the middle, that's when you apply pressure. It's hard for me too. So light, drop down, and then hook it at the bottom. So you want your heaviest pressure to be there in the center. I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, we have the letter M, overturn, overturn, compound curve, slightly touching the previous stroke. Overturn, overturn, compound curve. Okay. Next, we have a bounce letter M. So my entrance stroke goes straight into it. Instead of arching my first stroke, I'm just gonna give it a point at the top. Second stroke will be a regular overturn, and my third stroke will go above my X height and below my baseline. Exaggerated compound curve. Entrance is a point, or actually let's say the first overstroke transitions into a point. Second is an basic overturn, and the third is a dramatic compound curve. Or you can do the opposite and do the first stroke dramatic and the second stroke regular. Oh, no, I don't like the way that looks. There you go. Or even the opposite. So anything's possible with this M and bounce. Okay, next we have our foligraphy letter M. Oh, this tip is too small. Okay, entrance stroke. These foligraphy letter M's are actually drawn with an open space. So whenever I'm doing open space foligraphy, I like to draw my second line while I'm working on each stroke. Lowercase. Next, we have Happy Easter. A little bit of bounce and a little bit of basic. See how the double P here, both P's have a different format, just to break up the perfection, or the unevenness, I should say. ER is a good tricky combo. Okay, next we have April. We have our upstroke, oval, underturn, descending loop, another oval, R, underturn, ascending loop with exit stroke. Okay. Our X height, basic height, word April, letter April, month April is what I'm saying. Okay, another foligraphy April. Whenever I do my ovals with open foligraphy, I just never lift my pen and I wrap it around 2 times and guide where I want it to go. So right here, 1, wrap it around 2. didn't come out good when I talk about it. Okay, R right into I. Next we have April written in bounce. I didn't like that, it's a little close, so I would recommend spacing it out. Expanded form. Expanded form, expanded entrance strokes, regular alphabet, expanded exit strokes. Okay, and our slightly flourished April. Copper plate, uppercase letter A, starts from the top down. With the first stroke of the P, goes directly into the flourish, starts above the X height. And then the L is an expanded cross stroke, goes into an L shape. And there we have it. So next month, we're actually gonna elaborate on the bounce. Our technique is gonna be bounce. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna grab my graph paper and just elaborate a little bit more on foligraphy and different ways we can use it. Okay, do we have any questions before I move on? Okay. So we all know foligraphy is useful for multiple reasons. You could obviously create foligraphy when you do not have a flexible pen and you want to create, let's say, a bullet journal. We want the look of foligraphy, but at the time we only have a ballpoint pen and we want to continue. We just fill it in with what we have, right? The same technique goes for when we're using, we did these projects during last summer. I misplaced that. Whenever we have a Sharpie oil pen, we all know Sharpie oil pens are, here it is, non-flexible. So Sharpie non-flexible, we're going to use the same technique. We're doing chalkboard art. We're going to use the same technique. Let's go ahead and create a few flourished pieces, some calligraphy, adding some flourished doodles. So we can do something like, excuse me. Don't touch it. Okay. Let's move on to the letter B. So we have, go ahead. Let's do an uppercase letter B. Do it pretty big. So we go in at our downstroke, which is open, cross over to connect our B, and then just start adding some little doodles, little floral effects. This can actually be done on a bigger scale. Flowers bigger. And go. No, 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 no. I'm gonna do a bigger one. Let me see. Let me do a letter Q. No, sir. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then we can go in and add flowers, maybe some cute heart designs. Some swirls. Okay. We can also do, let's see. So adding some doodles. Oh, still have this top part. Okay. Let's do a letter V and add some color to it. So we can do an ombre effect on the open foligraphies. So we can go into it and maybe do a darker shade on the top. And then in this technique, got to keep in mind, depending on what type of pens you're using and what type of paper you're using, your ombre or fade effect might be different. So see, my fade is not fading as expected. So this page is absorbing, but I could just go in and shade it out. It looks a lot better with watercolor, or mixed media paper will work really well with this. Let me see. So we can add color, we can add embellishments, doodles, flowers. Just going through your whole entire alphabet. Just going for practice. Just going through. And then coming back and adding a second stroke would be considered a drill, just to see where all the downstrokes are placed. A little better understanding where you would apply your heaviest pressure at. Well, I mean, I guess I constantly go over it because we have our worksheet, but like I like to, just like I did these over here, I always like to keep the open space, the negative space. So like, for example, the uppercase letter J. I can easily, I don't like that. I don't like how the cross strokes go through. Obviously the cross strokes will be more for drills or practice technique, or simply you just like the look. Whenever I do my worksheets, you all know I like to draw them with open spaces, just prefer the look of that. But then that's when it starts to become more drawing, and you kind of got to understand and know where, you know, it just adds a whole new twist on things and what you can and cannot draw, because naturally I'm gonna just draw and cross it over, but then that's when you end up with the cross stroke. So just keeping that in mind before you do your project. If you want an open space so you can add embellishments or color, or just simply leave it like that because you like the way it looks, or with the cross stroke. Let me see. That's just the basics, details on what we can do with foligraphy. I'm gonna do a little drill where we create these words into foligraphy. I'm gonna grab a larger tip. Okay, so we're gonna turn control. And I'm gonna do opposite, one with cross strokes and one without cross strokes. So we'll start with cross strokes. So with cross strokes, you can just follow through the whole word. And then of course you want to just leave enough space to add your second line. Okay, now I'm gonna do bubble, but I'm gonna make sure I leave my open space. Double loop the ovals. And there's no rule as to if the line goes in front or behind. So what I mean is, so we're gonna do it in the front or in the back. It just depends what you left open, because you could have left the inside open or the back side open. So like right here, leaving the inside open. Come back and add a second line there. So going back to the crossover, writing the full word first. This is where you want to make your strokes a little bit wider. And keep all your basic strokes in mind. Just draw it as if you had a flexible pen in your hand. And then that's where you determine if you're going to add the line to the front or the back, is where you see it aesthetically pleasing, I guess you could say. So for the first stroke, the easiest thing for me to do would go backwards, because I don't want to go into the shape of my oval. Okay, same goes here. I probably go, inside. Ovals are usually inside for me. But then I left the space here on the E, so I go inside. So it just all depends on if you did or did not leave enough space for a second stroke. Flavor. I'm gonna draw this one so that I can have an open space. Let me see if I can do it. One stroke and go in the middle. You could always connect it. Double loop. No, that's wrong. That was actually supposed to be a comma dot there. So if I were to redo this one, I would say go V here, and then that's where you add your comma dot, and then continue on to the O. No. Come here. Come here. I'll do something else. The R is personal preference. You can leave it without a second stroke or just add a teeny tiny line up to the top, because sometimes your R's will come out without a drop, or you can add a drop to the top. So it just depends on how you like it. So yeah, keep in mind, comma dots, don't leave out comma dots even when you're doing foligraphy, because we don't want to end up with something like that. Okay. One more. There we go. All right. Do I have any questions on foligraphy? Any words that you might want me to draw? Anything specific before we move on to our project?
No, but I have a comment. I just wanted to say thank you for the worksheet of the normal versus the faux, and I think that's very helpful.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried doing one for every month. I don't know if I was able to get to it each month, but in a situation like that, it was a nice little addition. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into our bunny ears. Hopefully you were able to print that. Don't hesitate if you do not have it, grab what you have. If you like it, contact Ashley. She has copies at the library. It is also uploaded for you to print at home, so that you can do this if you don't have it with us right now. I'm going to use the same monoline Pigma. I call it monoline because it is non-flexible, but the pen specifically that I'm using is Pigma. This is a really neat set. A lot of people who are into bullet journaling actually use these, and I find myself reaching for these for everything other than projects, and it comes in a whole pack of sizes. Really useful for different projects. And then they have a cute bonus one, which is a flexible brush pen, and you don't see me grabbing for it for a reason. It is so difficult. Very, very flexible brush pen, but it's fun to practice with. So I am going to draw some lines on this using a ruler. I think I got my ruler stolen. Give me a second. Oh, got it. Okay. So the measurements I have down is 50, a half, Let me double check. I don't even understand my own. Okay, have a 1 inch, half an inch, and then okay. So the measurements I'm going to make on this, let me write that down. I'm gonna do 1 inch on the top and then follow a pattern of 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So from the top, I'm gonna leave a space of a full 1 inch, start with 1/2 inch and then 3/4. Actually, I'm gonna leave that there and then slide it to the bottom. So I went on the right side, which is my top right now, slid down to the bottom, which is the left side of the bunny. Okay. And then I start my ruler on the color, not the edge of the page. I'm gonna make my lines a little dark just so you can see, but I highly recommend making a sketch, light pencil marks for easy erasing. Oh, that was not a good spacing. My spacing, oh no, it's off here. They do. This first one's a full inch. Just move on. Okay. So. Okay. So what I actually did was use these 1/2 inch marks for my X height. So I'm going to sketch out follow the bunny. Okay, and then let's just do, since my spacing is off here, I'm going to center the bunny as much as possible, but go over the top. So like that. Not as centered as I would like, but let's move on. Okay. He has chocolate. Okay. So follow the is calligraphy, and I'm going to leave my open space. So this here is what we would call capital caps, print style. the downstrokes will pretty much be the same. So anytime my pen goes down towards me, that's where I'm going to add the second stroke. Doesn't pertain to every letter, because, so for example, Y, I naturally draw it both going in a downward motion, but I just want it on the right side. But for the most part, if you get confused what and where you want to place your downstroke, honestly, it's up to you, because you can easily even add a downstroke here. But normally it doesn't look too good with these capitals. With the capitals, you usually want to see one of the strokes in each letter double, not multiple like this. Like that. Oh, forgot to leave it open. Let's see, cross stroke. Double loop the circles, ovals. Okay, so again, uppercase, non-calligraphy letters. The C, so I would do the C more of an oval. So an oval, but not a connected oval. Like that. The H, I actually drew 2 double lines, but if I were to change it, I think I would like 1 double line. So you have this option or this option. Okay. Same thing with foligraphy. I always like to say our calligraphy is drawing, and I think that's the reason this whole calligraphy world is also known as hand lettering, because of this reason. Everything you do, it's drawing and hand drawing these letters. Let's see. So one thing that I've been doing is I guess the reason when I designed all of these images, I try to space out with the ruler an easy way, but every month that I go back over them, I don't think there's really an easy way because my spacing comes out wrong. And what I want to correct on this next page is honestly to show you the exact way how I would do it if I were going to do a project. Again, the reason I didn't do it, I was doing it the fast way, but in reality, the fast way doesn't work. You need to have your guidelines in place no matter what. So what I'm going to show you on this blank sheet is the long way how I seriously would do all my lines. If y'all been with me for a long time, you know I've done multiple lines. So what I'm gonna do is show you what I mean and why guidelines are very important. Okay, let me see. Okay, so this one I'm just gonna do just 1/4 of an inch all the way down. Keep it simple. I'm gonna use a dark pen. So I'm just gonna mark every 1/4 inch down and explain what I mean by guidelines and X height. Okay. Just to back it up one step, when first creating a whole nice little design for like this, why would you need a design like this? You want to put something in a frame, and believe it or not, it takes almost 10-page transformation just to get your final page. I know we went through this when we framed Country Roads Lead Me Home quote that I did. And I think that's when we did the coordinates. I remember doing that 100 times on my own and 100 times during class just to get it right. But like I said, step one obviously would be get your blank sheet, what you're gonna work with, and just sketch it. I wouldn't even put my lines across. I would just go straight into what I want and then go from there. Okay, I like this smaller, I like this bigger, I like this medium size, and so forth. And then that's when you kind of play around with it and you tell yourself, okay, I want my X height. Let me grab a darker pen. I want my X height to be 1/4 of an inch, or I'm doing it wrong, 1/4 of an inch. And then I want my spacing between to be, let's do 1/2 an inch. And so forth, right? So that's where you start playing around. Well, actually, I want this a lot bigger. So you change your sizing, do 1/2 an inch, okay? You know, so that's where you kind of start getting your ideas from. Once you figure that out, that's when you end up with your lines here. So then you move on to your second sheet. And your second sketch sheet. Of course, we know, just connect the dots on each side once you get your preferred measurements. I've talked about this before to avoid when you are on your final sketch or your final project, they have lasers. I have this laser here, so you don't have to go back and erase. You can do a laser method. They sell clipboards specifically for these types of projects that you clip your paper, like it's like a clipboard, and off to the side. Another way is using a background like this and using the ruler and lining it up on each side. So this is not the only way to get your guidelines right. I don't recommend this if you don't have a right pencil and you don't like the eraser marks. Sometimes eraser marks are not our friends, because I know these pages erase, the ink can get erased as well. So they're just different ways, different options, but for the most part, to get your sizing right, this would be the steps to take. A little hack for this, I'm actually using a ruler with a cork grip back. So this is honestly helping me out a lot, because we all know if you're using a regular ruler, it easily slides around. I know I don't like that. And quite honestly, I only figured out that little hack by grabbing the ruler I had laying around the house and using it in my calligraphy projects. I found that it was very helpful. Didn't know how helpful a ruler like that would be. Okay, so once we have all our guidelines, what I figured was our X height. So we have our X height, which is all our base letters: O, ovals, compound curve, underturn, so forth, over, under, compound curve. So what I'm going to do is actually leave the first line just for, I always just leave the first line open, leave a gap. This is where we create our X height. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 down. So my X height here, my ascending loop, my descending loop. Let me see how many lines I need. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I skip one, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So no, what I want to do is skip 2. Ascending, descending, ascending, X height, descending, ascending, X height, descending, ascending, X height, descending, ascending, X height, descending. Okay, hope that makes sense. Let's do that. Ascending, descending, ascending, descending. Okay. And I'm just gonna go right into it. At this point, this is where you would actually grab your pencil We're not doing anything special. The only special thing I'm doing is changing the color of my pen on these. Oh, and these pens are actually called, they're on our recommended supply list. And these are the Pentel, and I'm talking about these colorful pens. These are the Pentel Sign Pen, have a long name. They also have a word touch on the other side, but what you're gonna look for is a sparkle barrel. I'll bring that back up later on. But again, once you figure out your X height, ascending, descending spaces, I say sketch out your words so you kind of figure out what words fit where. I'm just gonna go right into my colors. I'm gonna open the cap just to have them all available and ready. Okay, so let's go in with the quote. This is what I'm showing you, the power of creating all your guidelines. So that was my X height, where all my base letters sit, my ascending where my taller letters, and my descending. And then start all over. I had a good question. I believe it was from Celeste last week. Her question was, when we are doing these type of projects, are we going to do our entrance strokes or not? And my answer to her was, it's a personal preference, because I can go around and add an entrance stroke to every single one. When I started, which actually I should follow through on this one, but when I started doing it before, I told myself I do not want any entrance strokes. But if you can tell, out of habit, I just started adding entrance strokes left and right. But that's something you could just tell yourself right at the beginning and add it into your sketching sheet and prepare yourself for your letters to be entrance or no entrance strokes. So what I mean, like here on joke, I naturally would come back here and add the entrance stroke here, but I avoided that for the look. Oh no, what did I do? Just cover that up. I don't know if you could see that, but my purple is extremely frayed. And when you don't use your pens on smooth paper, you start getting double lines where you do not want them. But don't get me wrong, it's not also just the paper you use it on. Some of these caps, if you don't put them in correctly or you go at an angle, quite honestly, I think my kids got a hold of these a long time ago. And when you just shove them in and hit the edges, that definitely can happen to these flexible pens. Okay,